All right, let's get started. A very rare day reading. It's 4:23. I've been trying to start this for like the last, I don't know how long, 30 minutes, and like my hotspot Wi-Fi is not working well, so I pray that um all is good. I had to restart my computer. Hopefully that fixed it. Let's see here. Let's pull this up. Mhm. But there might be times where the Zoom just like crashes and then has to reload, and it's this annoying process. But I pray that that doesn't happen. So let's pull it up. Hide the name. LP. Okay, let's share the screen. So here we are. Okay. So, oh, that's nice. Okay. See some earth, some air, earth, air. A lot of earth and air. No fire. No water. Hmm. Interesting. That combo. Well, off the bat, 4.26, combust sun, Mercury, Sun square Mars, Mercury square Mars, the hard aspects, opposite, 5 fixed, 15. Okay, maybe Sun square Pluto-ish of orb kind of, and Moon over there, 18 mutable. Okay, so no real hard aspects to the sun and the moon besides the sun square Mars, and the sun square Pluto, but it's kind of like, it's a 10-degree orb, or I guess 9.9.5. So it's, I'll for sun squares and oppositions, hard aspects, that orb works for me. But some astrologers would give like an 8-degree orb, but it's the sun, so we'll count it, but it won't be as intense as it would be normally. But basically, and by the way, as I do this reading, I'm drinking coffee. This is a rare coffee reading. My third of the day, which is rare. I just spent the time I was drinking number two, trying to get this shit to work. So fuck. But anyways, okay. So Sun in Aquarius in the 10th, with Moon in Virgo in the 5th, and Taurus rising, but you have Jupiter rising in Taurus. So that is really important to know. And then Mars and Taurus in the 1st/12th in Placidus. Okay. So let's see. Nodes are in Pisces and Virgo. Very nice. South node supported by the moon. Okay. So this is a classic thing I see. It's difficult when you have your South node, which rules the kind of been there, done that, like the past life tendency, if you will, right? My readings are really predicated on these 2 points: North Node, South Node. It's pretty basic, right? It's like the South Node, yeah, is really speaking to the kind of archetypal past life tendency one has, while the North Node is speaking more to where that person is trying to get to in this life. So by signing the house and aspect, you can tell a lot about the karma. So I think of the North Node in Pisces as like a summit. So Pisces being like the sign of deepest spirituality, and when I see that alignment, I definitely see you as someone who is here to help out humanity, and who's here to really engulf themselves in their life work. Finding, your tribe of spiritual people is part of your journey too. And just overall, dharma is like a huge word in your chart. And the thing that's difficult though is that there is like a lot of pushback because you see your South Node's in Virgo. So the South Node in Virgo, there's like a tendency to kind of be a little bit like in past lives, it's like having allowed that, it could be like um inner self-criticism, different little Virgo things, like there's something every day that could ruin your day, or that can, like, I think of it like this, like Pisces and Virgo, like Pisces is all about like feeling like, oh, feeling that oneness that is all, it's like the highest spiritual sign. So when you have a North Node there, your soul is trying to become very, very spiritual, and really feel that oneness, not just speak about it, right? Which sometimes Virgo can be it's very spiritual, but it's not necessarily um, as embodied because it's ruled by Mercury. So it can be a very cognitive type of spirituality, which we see so much of, right? Now, also Virgo can be extremely spiritual. Some of the most spiritual people I know are Virgos. My best friend's a double Virgo, and Phil Good, for example, I think he's a Virgo. So you have Virgo, and it's close enough to conjunct the nebula, the star that is one of like the truth-seeking stars, right? So it's in a nice part of Virgo. But this is the thing, is that you can be easily pulled back into, because you have South Node in Virgo on with Juno conjunct it. So your relationships are going to be very, very faded, right? And they might, like, you'll have to really use your discrimination when it comes to relationships in this lifetime, because they can easily kind of hold you back from your true goal, right? I have something similar in my chart where I have my South Node in the 7th house, and but I also have Venus there. So it's like my North Node's in the 1st house. It's like I'm meant to be in relationships, but ones that are really independent, that allow me to. And I see a lot of people that have that signature. So, but the thing with South Node and Virgo, it's like, yeah, so there's a thing every day that can annoy the fuck out of you, that can prevent you from feeling that oneness. Maybe today it's like a dispute with a neighbor, or what your best friend's relationship is like, like these kind of things. Or like, your mom or your sibling is annoying you, and you're just, or like someone said something about you online. I don't know. There's a million different things, but you're trying to like really overcome that, because there's when you go from earth to water, which your North Nodes, it's a classic sign of like a advanced soul when the North Node is unsupported, right? Meaning that there's no Cancer, there's no Scorpio. I guess Mars and Jupiter do sextile it, and Neptune. So you do have some good help actually in Pluto too, but you don't have any like elements within your inner planets which represent like your real you, like the real makeup of you and your personality. You don't have any of those that really help you get to Pisces. So you kind of have to really like find that within yourself. So with that said, also having yeah, Juno conjunct South Node, you're, like I said, your all your relationships, marriage, whatever, will be very, very faded. But you'll have to use discernment and choose a partner that, is used in Aquarius, with Venus in Capricorn and Juno in Virgo. Like, yes, they have to be practical. Yes, they have to be serious, but they have to also, not dissuade you from your spiritual journey, which is unique to you, right? So, for example, like, I'm not saying you have to be with someone who is, like into astrology and all that stuff, but they should at least respect, and be able to kind of not unconsciously hold you back from that place, because that's been a tendency for you, to be in very like kind of material relationships, that have very practical purposes, and those are very attractive to your Virgo moon, which likes things to be in order and likes, life to be kind of controlled, and an emphasis on cleanliness and precision and you know, a practical basis, you know, because like having a Virgo moon, your emotional need is, you know, your emotional nature, it really is logic over emotions, right? Virgo moons can have lots of like anxiety issues because they can overthink things because your moon is your emotions. It's ruled by the planet Mercury, which is the mind. And Mercury is neutral. It's not female or male. It's just it's neutral and it's cognitive, it's logic, it's science, it's that kind of energy. So when your emotions are in that sign, there's lots of people who have, you know, Virgo moons who you know, who struggle with overthinking and who struggle with really feeling their emotions, right? Um, so you know, so a big goal for you should be to sift through those and find a way to really get into those, so that you can basically move towards that north node. And one of the best ways for you to do that is to move towards people, friends, groups, whatever it is that associates um, life goals, you know, like life purpose type stuff, you know, that is in line with that energy. And with your sun in Aquarius, right? We all know about sun signs. I don't fucking give you the rundown of what a fucking Aquarius sun is, for fuck's sake. But you know, it is very much about the rebellious one, right? It's the water bear. It's the sign of thou who does different, you know, thou who thank God for Wi-Fi for this connection not breaking so far. Yeah, thou who does, you know, kind of what they want to do that's authentic to them. So yeah, it's interesting. That you know, in a sense it does sort of support your North Node because they are, well, it actually kind of doesn't because it's 30. There actually is an exact yeah, actually it does. This exact semi-sextile. Um, pretty much exact, yeah, within a degree. So, hold on. See one thing. Yeah. So I mean, there is difficulty with Aquarius and Pisces, right? Because at you know, hold on, I'm trying to remember something. Well, there's two way, yeah, there's two ways to kind of look at that. One, you can look at it as, yeah, in this for this purpose, I would say that it is kind of more on the same team. Because you know, Aquarius is the 11th house, so you're gonna be very, you know, group oriented. You're gonna want a career that's very much midheaven 0 degrees. You know, there's lots of like karmic newness in your dharma and in what you're here to do, and you want to do something that has a contribution. You want to give back, right? And you want through that giving back to feel a sense of belonging, a sense of oneness, feeling God's energy. Like for example, when I'm doing this reading right now, I'm feeling divine magic. Even though I've had 3 coffees, like I just need my Merlin stone. It's in my pocket, of course. Never leaves my side. But I need my other crystal that I have yet to name. But you know, when I have these 2 crystals, I can drink a million coffees and I won't have something bad happen. Um, well, maybe add the obsidian also. But yeah, basically, that's big. Um, now how those two work together is quite interesting because Earth is all, you know, having the Virgo moon will also make you quite grounded. If you allow yourself to not be so perfectionist, which is the biggest struggle for Virgo moons. And back to kind of the South Node North Node thing is that you're trying to learn to allow yourself to just be, to not have to just always be so perfect, you know, to just like I was talking to a really Virgo person the other day in a follow-up / current astrology, which just by the way, that's what everyone pretty much does, unless there's like a financial issue. Once they get this reading, they usually love it. I tell them during this reading, like, look, the normal process is that people first they get the reading and follow up. Once they've seen the reading, they see I'm legit. They see, I mean, I hardly ever miss with these things. I don't think I'm gonna miss on this chart. I don't get that impression. Then they are like, okay, what's the next step? Add the current astrology. It's usually 350. I do it for 250, and then we have like a live Zoom session the following week or two. I'm not actually that booked up right now, to be honest. It's crazy. Usually it's like a 3 weeks or a month, but now it's less. So if you want to do that, let me know over DM once you're ready, of course. But anyways, so yeah, as I was saying, it's very easy for you to get caught in that like south node lower tendency of yours to, and especially with Black Moon Lilith there, that adds to my argument, right? That Black Moon Lilith is like you at your lowest vibration, how you defeat yourself. So you defeat yourself by being too critical of yourself and thinking other people are doing better than you, and what else can I be doing, and also by any self-limiting beliefs you have about yourself and your own potential. That's the classic Virgo moon problem. A lot of them, they cannot seem to get their mind out of the way. So that's why things like meditation, right? And of course, as a Virgo moon, you're probably gonna be really dialed in to your day-to-day routine, which gives you a big advantage, right? Because if you add spirituality to that, right? For example, meditating every day, but then you take away, you understand, you learn to have a sense of humor about your failures, right? So you learn, and it's in the 5th house, so there could be some creative outlet or maybe children that play a huge role in your life, and you're opening up to having more of that childish energy that you're looking for, right? Inner child energy. But just that tendency to kind of be very critical of yourself, which can then make you very critical of others. And another challenge is that it's supported by Venus, which is unaspected. Interesting. I guess it's squaring Eris, but basically mostly unaspected. Wait, yeah. In kind of close conjunction to Neptune, I guess, but it's like 8 degrees. Saturn 10 degrees. But regardless, you can be very, very hard on yourself when it comes to love. And also, I would count that Neptune conjunction lightly as just like an indication of really wanting a very romantic relationship. But also for the potential to, want a very spiritual bond, but no one ever being good enough. That's what can happen. There can be like this disillusionment where, oh my God, this person is sucking God, holy fuck. Or the opposite, where it's like, you don't give the person enough of a chance. First little red flag, it's not even that big of a deal. It's like they're out, they're out, blow the whistle, So that's kind of challenges that you is to once you're able to, and I speak in the tense of timelessness, right? Like I would read this the same if you were 17, this is the hand you were dealt. So once you're able to really, really accept that and move and look at your faults and understand that we all fuck up and that life is not some just perfect trajectory where we just always go up and there's no fuck shit that happens. There's no like things that get in the way of our perfect plan. That can be the worst. And I'm a Pisces and I kind of relate, right? Because the opposite sign, the whole perfect plan thing, like life is messy. There's always little things that get in the way. But if you stay connected to God, you start to see the purpose in those little things more, right? So like, for example, the Virgo South Node might be very much like a good example is my mom is a Virgo. She can get very anxious, even though she's a very spiritual person. She can get very, and for right reasons too, right? My brother was going through some things, right? that were quite worrying. Not like worrying like to the like extent of like him being in real serious danger or anything like that, but like just some personal stuff. I'm not going to talk about it, but she really had like it really took over her life for a long time, and I understand that because it's her son. But at the same time, it's like it can consume you, right? If you don't put up those boundaries around it, with different people. Because I believe Virgo to be a very giving sign, a very giving and generous sign that wants to please people, that wants to nurture people. So, and a lot of times the love language is by those little things that they do. They love a Virgo moon or Virgo sun loves when these little, let's say like their partner leaves for a few hours and they decide they're going to surprise them and clean the whole house, or like do something kind of like get them a gift that like they once mentioned, oh, I would like to have that one day, like some little thing like that, or even something smaller, you know like uh like the partner like says like, oh wow, like our stove is so fucking dirty or something, leaves for work, you're at home for the day and you just fucking scrub that shit down until it looks like perfect, like things like that, like they love that to go noticed, um so there's a very practical basis to it, but it's just that the getting stuck in the south node is just like getting stuck in that self-defeating process of like overthinking and putting it on to other people. So the more you can lean into your like creative outlets, if you have any, like that's really important. A lot of Virgos do, because you're trying to move away from that left to that right, left brain to that right brain, from logic to just experiencing and awareness, intuition, compassion. These are the things that are that the Pisces North Node is all about. So it's a big ask. It's a big leap from Virgo to Pisces. But obviously you're here, you're here for it. So aside from that, the Aquarius sun and the Virgo moon, I mean, they are 5 signs away, so very, very different goals. So it's, I'm not gonna say like your parents were divorced or whatever, but I would guess that they had very different messaging. Perhaps the mom's, was more in line with the Virgo moon, um, and the dad is more in line with the Aquarius sun. But definitely on one end of you, it's very unconventional, and on one end of you, it's very conventional, and practical. And it's about really feeding both mouths. So, and getting out of your own way, clearing the space, and not filling your life with like kind of trivial stuff, right? Like really finding true meaning. Now, the fact that you have Taurus energy also in your first house, means that you really attract abundance to you, and that you have a very, very soothing, especially with Jupiter on the ascendant. That's like a very, very good karmic placement. It's like you're very lucky to be born at the moment when Jupiter was rising, right? Because it becomes like a staple of your personality. You appear to others, and your personality is very, very optimistic, and it makes you popular. It makes you, um, you know, it gives you a very open and likable personality that kind of is quite optimistic, even though internally you might be like, um the Virgo moon can be very back and forth and nervous. Like externally, you project an image of, and you have Jupiter on Algol, which is like the best placement for Algol. And it really adds like a lot of esoteric knowledge. I've been getting a lot of people with Jupiter 26.3 on Algol lately. It's crazy. But yeah, it gives a gift for like esoteric knowledge. So that's beautiful. But having your Mars there, like it's first house for me in the whole sign, but in Placidus it's 12th house. That would actually go very much in line with the South Node in Virgo. Kind of 12th house Mars would be like kind of getting in your own way, I would say. I think of that as people who just like they just like they are their worst enemies. Like they just do shit that just is like, why the fuck did I do that? Kind of thing. Like just like what? Like I don't even know why. Like really like like behavior coming from very unconscious places, you know? Now, with that aside, it's clear that, you know, in past lives there's been a tendency to be a little bit like, yeah, more stuck to the self, you know, more kind of keeping these creative talents for yourself, these things that that these gifts that you have that you can give to society, and being very relationship oriented, which kind of can hide you from that, right? So it's like friendships are very important. Also, your work is very important, like the career you choose, or like career slash dharma. You know, just like Aquarius is a sign of, yeah, like, you know, so it probably won't be what maybe your father, let's say, would have wanted you to do. Yeah, and getting, yeah, disconnect my Bluetooth. So another thing is that you have to watch out for, in relationships, power struggles. And you know, you really are here to learn a lot. In that, like that realm of relationships is really what, like, where you meet your shadow. Um, and there can be projection can happen there in that area of life for sure. But also it can be your real doorway. Like it's kind of like where you can like lose your shit, but through that losing your shit, you know, like kind of hectic relationships and whatnot, you can really um find yourself, you know, the death, rebirth, transformation, Pluto, Scorpio. But you know, having an unaspected Venus, you know, well, it is square Eris, but still an aspected. So that would add that element of real explosiveness that can happen within relationships. And if there's like unresolved childhood stuff, there can really be the potential for projecting that onto partners. Um, and also taking on partners who are like, you know, more Plutonian, you know, more dangerous, you know, until you really learn that self-love, which, you know, a lot of times with Venus in Capricorn, it's not till the Saturn returns, so you've just passed that, that, you know, you really start to find the real partners that are really good for you. And you might spend time with like relationships that are like feeling like they're like power struggles. So yeah. But you know, Mars in the first from whole sign is just, you know, strength, independence, and Taurus, you know, Mars and Taurus people, they like to do things in a reliable way. They don't want to really like, especially you know, Taurus rising, they're not necessarily like the fastest people. Um, you know, they prefer to just take it chill, um, take it chill and just kind of see how things go, you know. And think things through. And that's, you know, it's definitely like good for success, for long-term success, because you know, in the first house, you know, you can kind of project yourself strongly, um and really move towards goals in a very like slowly but surely kind of way. And you know, having, you know, the ascendant there in Jupiter, it's just like, yeah, it's a great house for physical beauty as well. You know, for sensuality, like touch, like engaging the senses is very important. So, you know, important, like the earth sign people, they love hikes, they love nature, and earth and air together, you know, like the best thing for you ever would be like to go on like a long hike with your best friend and to just talk for hours, right? Um, about ideas that are very unique to you guys, you know, like someone that really, really resonates strongly with you, right? Um, so with that said, I think that yeah, it can be really easy to get stuck in that south node. And I have an article about that I released probably in the last month you can read. Um and with, yeah, perfectionism, even if you're a creator, an artist of some sort, like really just, you know, like sitting down, meditating and really doing this work around what what ideas are in my head that are unconscious. What are the messages? Like, how can I spell them out in the paper that I tell myself, and like really like finding those voices and trying to figure out like where do those voices come from? One second. Oh, washing machine. Good thing I had these headphones that not only could kick out all sound for me, but kick out all sound from exterior. Because that would be loud as fuck. Yeah, so it's tough to have that there. And important for you to create. You have an emotional need to create things, right? I have a fifth house moon also. So for me, like I get emotional pleasure and relaxation when I even go on IG Live, and when I even write something or even this is creativity, like doing a reading is pure art. Well, it's art and science, but yeah. I think that there can also be this energy here of stubbornness and it can be difficult and kind of slow one down to have the Taurus energy like this so strong, and also it can make one very overly indulgent, um like in things like food or things like sex, things that feel good. There can be some hedonism, um so especially when the emotions are not met. But the fact that you have a Virgo moon is going to make you very health conscious, or most likely very, very health conscious, like really, really caring about like, what ingredients, and your vertex in the sixth house in Libra can really add to that too and make it so you could be someone whose work revolves around helping people become more healthy in some type of way, right? It doesn't have to be mental health. It could be physical health. It could be a doctor. It could be someone like this girl I saw on Instagram who literally like just like exposes like how disgusting so many of like the foods are, like because of like and the ingredients that go inside a lot of these like processed foods, and like what they can bring and all that stuff. Like I think it's called At the Food. I don't even know what it is. The Food Girl, something like that. It's probably not the Food Girl. I think that one would probably be hard to get. But yeah, so then aside from that, your ninth house is packed. That's like your ideology. I roll my head. I wish I had like a bead thing where I could just get like a head massage right here. I need a throne. I'm like Regulus rising. I should be. How cool would it be if I did my readings in like an actual like throne that had like a head massage? And you just like lay back and just be like, "Whoa," and shake up all my brain and just like vibrate the whole chair. That'd be awesome. That's cool. Goals. Goals. Also, gotta be pretty rich for that. So yeah, maybe in like 20 years that will be a staple of mine. You heard it first. Probably forget about it. But yeah, I would actually do that. It's a crazy idea, but I would buy myself a throne to do readings on. I think it would give me power, and I would have crystals all over it. And it would be an enhanced throne, not for the sake of ego, but for the sake of, like this is my reading spot, like a very, very almost like a sanctuary, like a sacred zone, that kind of thing. Gotta think about that for a while. Maybe I just need a better fucking chair. um, so yeah, basically your ninth house, the house of beliefs, is quite interesting because you have Uranus there, Neptune also, Venus and Saturn, and the part of fortune conjunct Uranus. So that is really about how that's very common for my clients. I mean, think about it. Uranus, the planet, the great liberator, the one who does different, the one who rebels, like kind of very, very out of this world thinking, the ingenious part of you. It is rule it's in your ninth house, right? Like so your belief systems are very much different than the norm. You know, you're not here to just think like everyone else and just be like everyone else, right? You're here to fully engage in in a very individualistic type of philosophy, right? So if you had religion pushed on you at a young age, you most likely would have really innately rejected it, um, especially being an Aquarius, right? And with that retrograde Mercury too, which I'll get more into in a sec, you know, you're definitely a deep thinker, and definitely I would guess that there is the potential for your mind to really kind of get in the way. Like it's like the mind is very strong. You have Pallas in, you know, in Aquarius too, so it's like very future oriented, but you can be very easily misunderstood, especially by your family, which might explain that Chiron in Cancer, which could be like, you know, your ideas being in your way of expressing things, and maybe like formal education not being for you, and being very right brained and more artistic, and having ideas that are just so different, right? With, you know, Neptune there, it's like kind of like just very spiritual kind of ideology and appealing to you more. And then Saturn ninth house, though, that's a lot of astrologers, people that do work like I do, have that there. The cats are getting all crazy. They always do this when they want food. They just like try to like knock books over. I guess I see what they knocked over. Incense, yeah, incense. They want their food. They'll get it after this. But yeah. Anyways, so the fact that Saturn's there and Venus also. So Venus there will give lots of luck abroad. So you'll have lots of luck, and good fortune, like maybe meeting someone from a different culture. Uh, and you know, just that kind of energy, right, is very nice. And I think part of fortune with Uranus really gives you, like, it really shows how when you're in that real Uranian kind of like anything is possible. I want to always be continuing to add to my philosophies. Everyone goes right, I question it. I go, and then maybe I go left. I don't always go left, but I question everything, you know. So yeah, it can give very unique philosophies to that person, an outlook on life that is different and untraditional, and rebellious almost. And the part of fortune being on that shows how that is a very strong point for you, and you're really in your flow when you're in your Uranus, which is, you know, ruling your sun. So that's cool. Now Saturn there, a lot of astrologers have this, because, and a lot of them that have this, for people who do numerology or whatever, you know, who they take, it takes them usually till around the Saturn return to really get into it, but it can give them a really serious approach to kind of wanting to discover, um, you know, deeper meaning, right? So they can like actually like really, as a Virgo moon, for example, let's say you want to be like a human design person, you'd have like that ability with the Virgo moon to understand the steps that it takes. You can't just fucking like be like, oh, I'm gonna do it. No, you know that it takes a lot of steps, and you're very capable, right? Now, with your Mercury where it is, right, it's close to your midheaven in retrograde. So I was just talking to someone with that yesterday, that his was in the 12th house. Um, you know, when Mercury is in retrograde, you're gonna feel more normal. And the way to think about Mercury retrograde natally is that it pushes the thought process in further, so that you are more, you know, you're really trying to like think a lot, right? And with the square to Mars and the Sun square Mars, there can be like, you can have these like kind of rash reactions, you know, of anger. And Taurus Mars people, usually it's like it takes them a while. It's like a slow buildup, but when it comes, it comes. You know, it's like fucking like bear that slowly and just explodes, right? So yeah, the guy I was talking to for 4 hours last night, he had the same thing, and he explained it exactly like that. You know, um, he was an exact same as you. Sun square, Sun in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, both, you know, his Mercury was in square. But yeah, it can make you like very much him. Yes, I'll feed you in a sec. Yeah, just very atomic. And hold on. What's up, Mika? With some coffee? With your favorite oat milk, which I don't let you eat, drink because you'll just throw it up. What's up? Give me a kiss. No, not on my lap, Mika. You have an intruder. Okay, that's fine. Right there's fine. So yeah, basically, I'm sure you want to see Mika. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's like you gotta find the things that you know, like if your parents like presented you with like lessons for painting, like lessons for things that are more right brain. Okay, Mika, I need to concentrate. You know, when you're younger, that would have been really good. But if you were like really pressured to kind of follow this like very Virgo Capricorn kind of path in life, it could be hard for you, you know? Very your mind is very abstract. And there's definitely also a tendency karmically to project past life characters, uh unresolved stuff from past lives onto people in your current life. Pretty trippy. Um and yeah, it just really kind of pushes the the thought process inward. So the person usually is very intelligent, especially in Aquarius. They're very futuristic, and conjunct the sun, it's combust. So yeah, I just made the Kazemi post. You don't quite make it. So the sun burns your Mercury, um, which can make it difficult for objectivity. Even though Aquariuses are very objective in nature, it can still make that kind of mind feel a little bit kind of there can be like difficulties with like kind of seeing others correctly, which the Virgo moon would perpetuate. And there can be a tendency to kind of see yourself as here, others is here, when really it's the opposite, you know, like you're actually up here, others are not as legit as you think they are, you know. And there can definitely be a tendency, a potential for like, yeah, just thinking like things are really wrong when they're not. No, wow. So you have an exact the 0.01 trine of Moon and Venus. Now that is unbelievable. You see, it says 0.00. Holy shit! So that is a super trine. Now I can go like this. I know what it means, but let's see what they say. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's very good for intuition, very good for creating beauty, very good for it adds harmoniousness to your emotions and to your inner life. So it's very nice placement. Neptune would also be trying it too, so not as strongly, but that will add kind of intuition and stuff like that. But I just think, yeah, you know, it's difficult for the Capricorn Venus unaspected Cap Venus can be very much like hard on themselves and really demand a lot in a partner. And because it's unaspected Venus people tend to like really like put everything in relationships. Like they like that like a lot of them will be like how like if you ask them how they're doing, it will be based on like how well or how not well or how in or how not in a relationship they are, right? So there can be this real obsession. And when you have Pluto on the descendant, there can be real clashes that happen in those relationships. So very important to choose the right kind of partner. Um, one that can, you know, meet the sensual needs of that Taurus part of you, the practical needs, you know, like you have a grand trine in Earth, you know, between it's an exact grand trine pretty much between ascendant slash Jupiter, um, Moon and Venus, you know, so it's like that's like a mega talent, right? You see that? 20, 18, 18. So it's like a 2-degree orb. So it's really, really tight grand trine. So, and it's in fire houses, which is interesting. So I think that that can really make like embodied, very, very embodied creativity and practicality, and someone who can really take care of business. And you combine Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn, and you get someone who has the bossiness energy of Capricorn, the kind of resilience that brings, but and organization skills that both Capricorn and Virgo bring. And then the Taurus adds a kind of Venusian vibe to it, a more of a smooth kind of like earth goddess energy that you project, with the moon being more of like earth magic, right? And then the sun or the Venus being more like boss bitch. I don't know. But yeah, you gotta also watch out for that Neptune conjunction. Mika, I'm gonna feed you in a sec. I know you love when I do readings. You always want. You too, Esme. You've been very, very, very polite. I'm gonna reward you. Don't worry, Esme. Let me finish. Mika, Miss Aries, Miss Active. Okay, jump up. Come on. Okay, come on, Mika. Come on. Come on. You're a very good salesman, Mika. Saleswoman. So yeah, anyways, it comes back to just the fact that you have Palace there too in the 12th. So yeah, you got. Let me guys. I'll finish my thought. You got to watch out for being too obsessed with relationships, and trying to replace, like some people with this kind of chart, they'll try to replace God and their relationship with God. They'll try to replace relationships, partners with their God. They'll make them their God, and then that always goes wrong. Right, Mika? She's purring really, really loud. Um. So yeah. Um. Yeah. Just really looking out for those self-limiting beliefs, because those can be really unconscious, and trying to like see when your mind goes like for example, like therapy, right? Like sometimes therapy can be very like ungiving, because it's like, what are you gaining when you're just like cognitive to cognitive? You know what I mean? Like where there's not really anything gained on that level, on the deeper level. So it's really about getting really deep into the emotions somehow. Um, Getting past the mind. Um, but yeah, so your career will be a massive area of importance. A lot of 10th house sons people, I mean, their fathers were typically either like very powerful people or people who had a very, very powerful effect on them. And it just makes you a very, very strong presence to have your son so close to the midheaven. A shining light, a bright star, a person who can really be a leader, and with the palace there in Aquarius, it gives you this real hindsight into the future of how things will be, and very inventive mind, and the fact to have Palace and Mercury in the same sign is very nice, because your mind and your third eye mind, if you want to put it like that, are very aligned in Aquarius. So it's like, yeah, a different way of thinking, out of the box thinking. Now, yeah, there can definitely be blowups in relationships, anger, yeah, that can be repressed and then just gets thrown down there. Kind of like that Virgo moon can also be very, very, like it has its needs that can be very specific. It can be a little bit neurotic, OCD. So those are things, possibilities. But yeah, it'll be very faded who you're with, and you'll want someone who gives you that sense of Virgo kind of safety, but also allows you to go deeper in spirituality. Maybe someone who's on like a similar spiritual karma quest as you. Ceres and Aries and 12th, you really do feel nurtured by this type of information, and by by being of help to humanity, but also by you know, being your own boss, you know, by being in control of your own destiny, it's really important for you to feel that. Hey Esme, so we got a two tiger cat tigrata cat party up here. Esme, where are you gonna sit? See, this is the morning food. Look into the camera, Esme. You've gained weight, Esme. I'm not gonna sleep with you anymore because you don't get to run around. She has weight issues. She has Mars and no, she has Mars and Aries. So yeah, Mika, you have Mars and Taurus, don't you? But you are an Aries. This is Mars and Taurus, Venus and Pisces, just chilling. Give me ideas of this chart, Mika. Let's see if this works. What just got knocked down? Esme. She knocked. You see, I told you to do this. She just knocked down 4 papers from my desk. Esme. Oh my God. Oh my God, my papers that matter so much are on the floor. Heartbroken. You think that's gonna make me want to give you food more, Esme? No. Okay. So yeah. Anyways, so that's kind of like most of everything. We have to look at some more stuff, but you know, for the most part, best at eighth house in Sag, you know, you are someone who can really work in the esoteric. You could even like work around things, you know, be like a teacher of the esoteric in some type of way, and you know, even like be someone that works with dead people, you know, like in a hospice type situation, like um, you know, stuff like that, and you know, you can work with other people's finances and resources quite well, you know, if you're like an investment banker or something like that, those type of industries. And then yeah, and then having like that Chiron down there in Cancer, it's just like, you know, I have that too, like I said. So it's just you know, pain that has to kind of like there could be some karmic pain with siblings, perhaps with the siblings. Could be with neighbor, like people that you like early childhood stuff. Like maybe it was like you just thought so much different that you were like bullied early on, but maybe because it's in Cancer is within your own family, right? Maybe it's with your own mother, you know, or just your early nurturing wasn't, you know, it wounded you in some way. So that's important to know. Um, do, 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 do. And yeah, you really feel like in your flow when you're just out in the world, you know, and giving ideas that can be like transformed into your career, that you know, like where you get really lots of inspiration from your travels, you know. So traveling is very important for you, and it may have been held back until right like around now, you know, maybe you haven't traveled much, maybe you have, but Saturn there usually will kind of push that back, but until the Saturn turns over, then you're like, all right, I can finally fucking do it. But you know, with all that earth, you gotta watch out for that the downside of it, which is like, you know, when you lack fire in your chart, you lack water, you know, there's that you lack that energy of like let's just go. You know, that's fire energy. Like let's just fucking go. And there's zero traces of fire whatsoever. So I mean, yeah, the trine is in the fire houses, but um so really finding fire energy is just from like you could like do meditations, like literally the best thing with no water, no fire would be to take baths a lot with candles and like do meditations where you stare at the tip of the candles, stuff like that. But yeah, finding the passions, the things that really get you going, and moving towards those. It's not like a bad thing. It's just you know, you lacking an element, you know. And with water, when you lack water, it's just getting, like I've said many times, getting in touch with your emotions in some way, you know, feeling those energies. Okay. Mhm. Yeah, so um yeah. So I feel like there's like a lot of dark energy in your relationship life. I mean, you have Serpentis on your descendant and Lilith there too. So it's like kind of like one energy is like very like I don't take shit from anybody. Um, you know, like really like kind of goes with that kind of power that theme of like those power struggles. So it's really about finding that inner power and that letting go and knowing that relationships are not supposed to be battlefields, you know. But they can feel like them with these types of placements. You know, definitely difficult. Uh, Serpentis on the descendant, you know, like it's like like adds like manipulation, potential cheating, potential like yeah, really dirt, like just gross Scorpio energy, like really like potential for that, right? Can also make really deeply spiritual energy, but like you have to get past it. You have to find that self love, or the journey to finding like good partnership have been very difficult. Um, very difficult. So, mhm, okay. Oh my God, they're reading. Oh my God, I'm so proud of myself. Holy fuck. Maybe I should do readings during the day. I'm so much more efficient. I'm so proud. I thought this felt way at night when I do them, like it just becomes like an hour and a half so fast. During the day, it's like an hour. I said everything exactly how I would have said it. I'm trying for a goal of mine to get my readings closer to an hour, you know, hour 20, that kind of range. Holy shit. Um, but you didn't have like that many hard aspects. So that's usually what I spend a lot of time on. I guess with this, yeah, and then the Sun Square Pluto also kind of will go with that theme of like just like how there could have been like a rough energy with the father, maybe someone who pushed you really hard, who kind of put a lot of pressure on you. There could be some trauma there, um, and just the need to really like move past that and to find that power within yourself. You know what I mean? Like because when people don't integrate like difficult Pluto aspects, they can become like people who are very domineering and you know, just it's just difficult, right? Especially when you have such a powerful chart. So you have one of the best leadership stars on your midheaven, Altair. Um, like George Washington had it, for example. Joe Rogan has it. Martin Luther King. So, you know, it's really nice. It promises kind of rises in terms of like your honors, you know, your rising like your kind of professional life, like high honors. Um, you know, really like trying with your full willpower and a very sincere kind of conviction to like reach your goals. And you know, like someone who like really will avoid nothing in order to achieve um their goals, right? So Yeah, that one's at 1 Aquarius, 1.47. Um, okay, so no other ones. I know what I'm gonna do. Angel conjunct Jupiter. That's like real deep spiritual protection that you have. You have like a very angelic energy that you kind of really, really project like this angel kind of energy. Um, what else are they? Esme, stop doing all this stuff on me. God damn it. Okay, pop this open. Just want to know where this is. To P4 and P2, right? P2 right here. Yeah. So 18 degrees Leo is your part of love, part of Eros, part of passion, part of Eros is. So if you meet anyone who has placements around 18 Leo, you know, obviously like with your Venus, your moon is very important too, but that's definitely a good point. Um, Besides that, do I see anything else that stands out? What would that do? Okay. These fucking okay, whatever. Yeah, so Psyche conjunct Neptune, I think your sense of Psyche really emerges from your spirituality, you know, and from your unique viewpoints on life, and your hot like kind of connects you to that North Node and to that oneness that is. And it gives you, you know, psychic faculties and um really, you know, you find yourself within that kind of Neptunian Piscean energy. So it really is nice and supportive to everything I've said. Okay. Oh no, wait, I'm tripping. No, I was wrong about the. I was wrong about the. Forget the thing about 18 Leo. No. So you have your part of Eros conjunct exactly your Mars at 3 Taurus. So in ancient astrology, traditional like very ancient astrology, especially in a woman's chart, you like 3 Taurus, like a man who has, like important planet or something there. North Node, even vertex, you know, Venus, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, anything like that. Mars, even conjunct around that area, like that's gonna really, really be amazing for you, you know. And you even have Eros around like 7 Taurus, at 7 Taurus, so that's kind of like a real nice zone for you. And with all your Earth, it wouldn't surprise me if you were, very attracted to men who are also earthy. So, yeah. All right. Wow, 65 minutes. Look at me, my 3 fucking coffees. Hopefully I don't start feeling anxious. So thank you. It was a pleasure. I'm gonna try to keep this blueprint for like every reading I ever do, because whew, it weighs a lot on you over time when you're like, all right, if I do this now, it's gonna be, let's say it's like 6:30 when I'm starting. Could be 8:30 when I finish. Time flies, and if I can get the full message across in less time without losing anything. I mean, I just was more precise and more like with my words. I was less. I mean, I do repeat things on purpose a lot, but yeah, I really like this. So maybe I'll do more of these day readings. Went really, really well. And I would get through my wait list a lot faster too. So thank you so much for being patient. I hope you enjoy, and I hope to hopefully get for sure the follow up when you're ready, and then let me know if you want to add the current astrology. All right. Ciao, ciao, ciao.